Hello everyone, welcome to Anime No Mi, and thank you for joining us for another One Piece video. In today's video, we're going to talk about one of the more interesting tattoos that we've seen in the series, and that is of course Ace's tattoo, who is Luffy and Sabo's older brother. Now what makes Ace's tattoo interesting is the fact that he has the letters A, S, C, and E, but the letters S has a cross or an X across it for some reason. And since Ace was introduced to the One Piece community, most of us have wondered what exactly the meaning is behind this unique tattoo. Now there are many in the community who might have said that the S stands for Sabo, and the reason why it has an X across the letter is because of course his brother lost his life, or at least Ace thought he had lost his life at the time. But do the other letters represent something other than maybe the character's name, or do they have a deeper meaning? Now there are many in the community who actually think that there is much more to see than just Ace's name, and that could represent something very important to Ace, and therefore they've come up with many different ideas and possibilities of what these letters could actually mean. Now in today's video, we're going to talk about these possibilities, and also talk about what the real meaning of the tattoo is, what Luffy's brother's tattoo really means, and how most fans believe in a possibility that may not actually be the real one. But before we dive into the video, if you're new to the channel, we'd be honored if you'd consider leaving us a like, or even subscribing with a comment letting us know what you think about the video. It really helps us out and motivates us to create more content, and if you like it even more, maybe consider sharing the video with some friends to help out our channel even more. But without further ado, let's get into the video. So to start our story, once Ace's father, Goldie Roger, had lost his life, Garp was given the task to take care of the son of the Pirate King. But the boy really couldn't stay with Garp since he was a really high-ranking member of the Marines. And worse still, it'd be so much easier for the world government to know that Garp was indeed protecting the son of the Pirate King, and this put him in even more danger. So to prevent he and Ace from suffering the punishment of the world government, Garp left Ace under the surveillance of some enemies of the Marines that he had saved and were also led by Dodon. Now the reason why Garp had taken on this burden and this challenge was because he owed it to the Pirate King, and he was also asked for this favor. And besides, Garp really did indeed feel that although he and Roger had been rivals or even enemies, that the son should not suffer for the sins of his father. Now it's because of where Ace grew up that it allowed him to meet Sabo, who had run away from his home because he had disagreed with the views and actions of his noble family. And once Ace and Sabo met, they became the best of friends. And as years passed, Garp then ended up leaving his grandson Luffy to live with Dodon, as he had also done with Ace. And this could be that he was really trying to prevent Luffy from being persecuted by the Marines, just as Ace would have been. This trio of boys ended up becoming inseparable, and for a very long time they all planned to go to sea together, form their own crew, and all they had to do to achieve their dream was wait till they were old enough to go out to sea. But even during these happy times, there were several unforeseen events that arose that they couldn't count on, such as Sabo being forced to return to his home again, which actually made Sabo flee, and during his escape, he supposedly loses his life. Now Ace and Luffy are incredibly sad to hear this tragic news, for they were really more than just friends, they were family, and they had dreamed of sailing this vast sea together. Now it may be that this tragedy led Ace to change his mind to leave the island before Luffy to find Shanks, because he felt like he might have had business to settle with him. But before leaving, Ace tells Luffy that he will be waiting for him when he gets older to start his own pirate life, and in the meantime, he'll be waiting for him at sea with a huge smile on his face while he starts his own dream of becoming the greatest pirate in the world. And with that, Luffy ends up staying alone on the island until he got old enough to start his own journey. But somewhere after this and along his journey, Ace got a tattoo on his arm to represent something very important to him. One of the most popular ideas among the fan base is that the A stands for his name, Ace, the S would stand for Sabo, but since he thought Sabo had died, the X would represent that he was no longer alive but would never be forgotten. The C would stand for Crybaby, which was Ace's way of calling Luffy because when they first met, he really didn't like Luffy because he would cry all the time. So that's kind of where most of the fans got the idea for the C. Now the final letter would be E, and that would represent the name of his captain, Edward Newgate. After all, he did consider Whitebeard his father, so it's quite likely that he would have tattooed his name on the arm that had the rest of his family. Now in the original story, it's never really been revealed when Ace got this tattoo, but in the One Piece Episode A manga that was drawn by Boichi, who is the author of Dr. Stone, it's kind of more or less shown when he got this tattoo. After managing to eat the Marimara no Mi and having met and fought Whitebeard several times, Ace was captured and taken onto the Yonko ship, and once on the ship, he tried to fight Whitebeard even several more times. Now it's while he's on Whitebeard's ship where Ace gets this tattoo, so some other member of the Whitebeard crew had to have applied the tattoo on Ace. Now most likely it probably would have been Thatch, the commander of the Whitebeard's 4th Division, and this is also supported by the fact that Ace and Thatch actually spent most of the manga together. But in the meantime, he was still trying to attack and defeat Whitebeard the entire time. Now we did see in the official One Piece manga that by the time Ace attacked Newgate, he had already had the tattoo on his arm, but it makes no sense that he really had paid homage to an opponent. Now we also have to remember that that this manga was drawn by another mangaka, and although it contains different story elements such as different characters that serves as the narrator of the story, the whole story is canonical because Oda participated in its production. So it was at some point on Whitebeard's ship that Ace did get this tattoo. But before Oda revealed the meaning of the tattoo, many people speculated on what it could have meant and maybe that it related to each person he had met. But all speculation was put to rest after Ace lost his life in Marineford, and the real meaning of the tattoo was revealed by Oda himself. Based on the information that Oda told us, the Ace really was Ace's name, and the S was added later to represent Sabo's old pirate flag, which indeed was an S once he had lost his life. So that made the ASCE, and it really was that Ace just wanted his own name. Now, adding Sabo's name was really in memoriam, and he really didn't need to add Luffy because there really wasn't any reason for him to symbolize his younger brother's name. Oda also made it very clear that the letters C and E really don't have any meaning and they're just meant to complete Ace's name. Only the S was meant to symbolize the brother he lost. In the cover art of chapter 596 of the manga, we see a scene where Ace, Sabo, and Luffy are all together, and Oda really wanted to represent a world where Ace and Sabo had not lost their lives, and together the three brothers would have gone on amazing adventures. In this chapter, we see Ace had a tattoo on his arm, but it was only his name. He did not have the S, and that finally reveals what the tattoo meant. Now, just because Ace didn't have a letter for Luffy, it doesn't mean they didn't have a great relationship. They in fact had an amazing friendship, and after Sabo had left, it became even stronger because they had spent even more time together. And although they weren't connected by blood, they were still connected by a brotherly bond, and they were practically family. Ace and Sabo and Luffy had made a promise by sharing the cups and considered themselves brothers. Now, we also have to be honest, although they did consider themselves brothers, Ace really was quite hostile towards Luffy when they first met. In one instance, when Luffy was following Ace across an old rope bridge, Ace got really annoyed by his presence and knocked Luffy off the bridge. But after learning about Luffy's loneliness, Ace began to feel sorry for him, but still became angry when Luffy cried. But just as all brothers do, although Ace might have been annoyed at Luffy, he always stepped up to protect him. As we saw in the anime, Ace stepped in front of Smoker to protect Luffy in Nanohana, and later when he found out that Teach intended to defeat Luffy to deliver him to the world government, Ace immediately warned him that he better not lay a finger on his little brother. But just as Ace tried to protect Luffy, he also made him angry and made him often worry because of all the reckless things that Luffy would do. And that's why Ace didn't doubt Boa Hancock's words when she informed him that Luffy had infiltrated Impel Down just to rescue him. It's also been mentioned that Ace often shared stories about Luffy with other pirates, and he was so happy when Luffy earned his first bounty poster and wasted no time showing the wanted poster to Whitebeard himself. After Luffy's incredible entrance at the Battle of Marineford, Marco had no problem identifying him because Ace had always been talking about him, even before Luffy had ever introduced himself for everyone to hear. And we could also never forget the fact that Ace even asked the Straw Hats to keep an eye on his younger brother. He also assured that Luffy would always have a way to find him by giving him his Vivre card, and it was really this thing that led Luffy to want to go rescue Ace. So when you think about it, it really wouldn't make sense that Ace would have honored his family's name by using everybody else's name and maybe just his nickname for Luffy. Besides, the nickname was in English and really wouldn't necessarily be a thing that would translate in Japanese. So with all that said, and after a long time and many possibilities involving what Ace's tattoo could have meant, really the reason is the simplest. He wanted to tattoo his own name, and then after inserted an S to honor his brother Sabo, who had lost his life. But for now, we'd like to know what you think about it. Did you already know the true meaning of Ace's tattoo, or were you also thinking that maybe it would have been his family tree? We'd love to know what you think about it in the comments. So as we close out the video, we'd like to thank you so much for watching the video until the very end. Make sure you comment on any themes or ideas that you'd like to see in future videos. And also, since you've made it this far, give us a like as you head out to take on the rest of your day. Hope to see you in our next video, and let's keep sailing this giant sea together. Take care.